Hello, my Grots and Gits. Welcome back to another episode of Happy Crumpin' Wargaming. Today, I am super excited to go through some of the top Space Marine list around. If you are a Space Marine player or you are planning on playing against the Adeptus Astartes and you need to know how to fight them, well, you got to find out what you're going to see on the actual battlefield, which is what we are going to talk about today. Some of these lists are crushing at GTs. Some of these lists are just piloted by extremely good players around the world. So we're going to talk in depth about how these lists work and potentially about how you can even counter them. So let's hop right on into the video today. All right, we are talking about Space Marines. What are the big advantages of the Space Marines army right now? Well, first off, they are very flexible. So you can go high pressure melee, you can go I shoot everything, you can go I can teleport deep strike. They have all of these awesome different abilities, and there are an extreme amount of competitive detachments, which is one of the things that I like most about 10th edition, by the way. Vanguard, still very, very strong. If you guys remember John Lennon's list, which popularized the 6-man squad of Centurion Devastators, still very, very viable, still very, very good. Ironstorm is so strong, has been super strong since the beginning. I remember that people were running, say, like a Blood Angels Ironstorm detachment. I think the meta has generally shifted towards a Black Templars Ironstorm detachment, and we'll show some lists to show exactly how that works. Firestorm is actually still very, very good. It's actually quite powerful. I don't think we're seeing that many top lists running Firestorm. But that's not because Firestorm isn't good. It's just because maybe there's something that's just slightly better, but it's still very good. Gladius, still an extremely viable, competitive detachment. It's so powerful. So the Space Marine Codex is rife with really awesome options, which is why we get to see a variety of lists coming out there. And it's why it's an extremely exciting time to not only play as the Adeptus Astartes, it's also a great time to play against the Space Marines because you're going to get variety, and that is awesome. One last thing to mention before we jump right into the list is we actually have a bunch of divergent chapters that are currently seeing a pretty cool little resurgence. So the flexibility is amazing, and I'm super darn excited for the meta right now. So last thing I do before I hop into the list, I just want to go over the army rate, win rate currently. Remember, these dashboards are from StatCheck, and big shout out to those guys. I love the work that they do. So if we're just looking at this data sheet, at this spreadsheet, we are in the most balanced meta of all time, which is super freaking exciting. There are a few problems. Adeptus Custodes at 57%. Honestly, I think that's going to be solved just as people learn how to play against Adeptus Custodes. Maybe there's a few balance things that could be done there. Necrons are still a little bit above the other people as well, but I don't think it's very much. We don't really need too much balance to them. And there are a few factions that are also struggling a little bit. Actually, Vanilla Space Marines seem to be one of the ones. And we're going to talk about today why Vanilla Space Marines are one of the struggling factions. And we're going to see really quickly. So let's go through the first list right now. This is going to be piloted by Kit Smith-Hanna, who is a fantastic player. This guy is absolutely a legend when it comes to list building and to performing. And he just went 6-0 at Clutch City. Well, the Clutch City Super Major with this list. And he just did an amazing job. So this is the Ironstorm detachment as Dark Angels. So he can run Dark Angels characters and unique units, which really makes the list work. And if you don't know how this works, oh boy, are you in for a treat today. All right, so we're taking Azrael. Azrael is going to be giving you the bonus CP a turn, because bonus CP, shocking, is awesome. And he's going to be attached to a unit of company heroes, which is going to be a fairly bulky, fairly tanky unit that can move around and just cause havoc wherever they're going. And with a -1 to wound, it's not exactly easy to pick them up either. Then we're going to be running a Talon Master with the Master of Machine War. And remember, these Ironstorm things are really, really important because they've got all these really powerful abilities. So the Master of Machine War is a 6-inch aura of giving vehicles the ability to fall back or advance and shoot. So being on a Talon Master, that makes them move very, very quickly. Now, this is going to drop out of popularity very quickly as the Dark Angels book becomes legal, because I'm pretty sure the Talon Master is getting legends. But that's no big deal. You'll just put it on a Tech Marine and Bob's your uncle. There's really no change that's actually going to be occurring in that situation. Then he's got two Tech Marines. One's with the Target Augury Web, and this is going to be the 6-inch aura of lethal hits, and then the Tech Marine with the Adept of the Omnissiah, which is going to be letting him flip a damage to 0. All right, we are talking about company heroes. He has a Dark Shroud. Now, most people don't know what the Dark Shroud does, but what it does is it provides an aura of stealth and cover, which is so critical, because now you have these 2 Storm Ravens. I'm just going to jump ahead and talk about the Storm Ravens right now, because that's how this list actually works. It's going to give both of these Storm Ravens -1 to hit and cover, And Storm Ravens are already a T10 14 wound -1 damage 3-up armor save vehicle that is very hard to crush, especially when you stack the fact that you can blank one save and you can Armor of Contempt on one of them. There are going to be very few armies in the game that can actually handle these things. Especially when you stack on the stealth, and you stack on the cover, and you stack on armor contempt, and you stack on their -1 damage, and you stack on the I get to blank an entire save on them. It is very powerful, and it means a Lancer just does absolutely nothing to these bad boys. So these Thunderstrike, or sorry, not Thunderstrikes, these Storm Raven gunships are very, very powerful. They're very, very fast. They can move 20 inches. You're going to start them in hover. And here's the trick that most people don't realize. These bad boys actually transport up to 12 infantry and a Dreadnought. So one of the things that you can do with this list is you actually start 2 of these 3 Dreadnought Redemptors inside the Storm Ravens. So when the Storm Ravens move 20 inches in turn 1 to get lines of sights to blast the crap out of your opponent, well, they also get to drop a Dreadnought Redeemer 20 inches up the field, which is so powerful because Dreadnoughts are slow. It gets them these crazy angles. It gets them really, really powerful and good movements. And not to mention the fact that you're probably going to be transporting the Tech Marine who has the lethal hits aura with those 2 units. So it's going to drop out, give them lethal, and it'll be healing them up as you go. It's very, very powerful. The Storm Raven gunship also has an extreme amount of shooting. It's got a twin-linked multi-melta. It has a twin-linked plasma cannon. It has 2 Storm Raven missile launchers, which are both damage 3 shots. And then it has 2 Hurricane Bolters. And what are Hurricane Bolters? But 24 shots when you're in upfire range with twin link. So everything converts very, very highly, and they're really great at clearing hordes. They can absolutely start punishing vehicles when you stack on the fact that this list does bring a Storm Speeder Thunderstrike to add that sweet, sweet +1 to wound. Now that you have the twin linked multi-meltas and twin linked plasma cannons with +1 to wound, oh boy, these things can put out some damage, and a lot of enemies just cannot deal with them. Now, the way that you want to play against this list is you understand that it does not hold objectives well. As soon as you start killing things, they crumble real fast. The problem is the things that are going to be holding objectives are Redeemers, which are Dreadnought Redemptors, which are not easy to kill. So it's going to be putting a lot of massive turn 1, turn 2 firepower and pressure on you, and if you can manage to weather that storm, I think you'll be okay. But that's easier said than done, as Mr. Kit Smith-Hanna has demonstrated. So let's go on to the next Space Marines list that we're really excited about. This is piloted by Alex Harrison, although I believe the build style was popularized by Innes Wilson of StatCheck. Don't quote me on that. I just want to try to make sure I'm giving credit where credit is due. But Alex Harrison definitely has developed it into something that I think is a little bit more fearsome. So let's check this out. Once again, this is still going to be Black Templar. This is still going to be Ironstorm, but this is using the Black Templars instead of the Dark Angels, and it really adds a different to it. All right, so we're going to have the Tech Marine with the Lethal Hit aura, the Tech Marine with the Fallback Advance and Shoot aura. We've got 5 Intercessors to stick an objective. We've got 2x3 Eliminators, 2x5 Incursors, an Infernus Marine Squad, 3 Black Templar Gladiator Reapers, 3 Predator Destructors, a Storm Raven gunship, and 3 Black Templar Impulsors. Now, why does Black Templar change the build? Well, when you look at a Black Templar Gladiator Reaper, it's a normal Gladiator Reaper with a multi-melta. A Black Templar Impulsor is a normal Impulsor with a multi-melta. So these things suddenly get much more powerful and just by nature of being in Black Templars. So essentially what you're looking at here is you are going to be looking at a 6-inch aura of 3 Gladiator Reapers that are all getting lethal hits, and so are the Predator Structures that are in there. The amount of damage that comes out of this list is absolutely insane. Now let me explain a trick to you that most people don't understand. This is a really big deal, so make sure you focus in and pay attention here. You take your 2 squads of Eliminators and you put them inside 1 Black Templar Impulsor. Doesn't sound too threatening. Oh, well, no. Oh, well, it's very threatening, and let me explain why. So that Black Templar Impulsor is going to move all the way up. You're going to have the Eliminators jump out. The Eliminators will shoot, but presumably with Oath of the Moment, at whatever, with their 4 last between the two units of them, 4 last fusel shots, which is a Strength 9 AP3 D6 damage gun. They're then going to hop back inside of the Impulsor. The Impulsor will then be able to pop, what's it called? Mercy is Weakness, which is the strat that will cause critical hits on 5-ups. And don't forget, You also get sustained if it's used on a vehicle. So suddenly this Impulsor is going to get to shoot those last Fusel guns again, in addition to its multi-melta and its all of its other guns that it already has, that are all getting to reroll because presumably you're attacking the Oath of the Moment target. That it's getting sustained and lethal on 5s. This is absolutely bananas and a bonkers damage combo that most people are not paying attention to because it's coming out of an Impulsor. You're going to be focused on the Reapers, the Destructors, the Storm Raven, but then this little Impulsor is going to sneak by and it's going to wreck your face. I'm trying not to curse so much on the channel. So it's going to absolutely wreck face. So this is a very fearsome list. It requires very careful staging in order to get the pounce on them. Winning a gunfight with this is very, very hard. It might suffer on WTC boards against high volume pressure list, just because you can tag the units and you can get to them. But getting to these units is this is a problem list. Let's be honest. I'll just be very honest. I am always going to struggle going into this list, and I think most people will as well. It is 100% beatable, but it is a very strong list. Give it a try if you're looking for something new. I've got 2 more lists I want to go through. One is going to be Firestorm, and then one is going to be a amazing new thing that probably very few people have ever heard of. So Firestorm. This just went recently 4-1 at Northampton Super Major. I don't know the name of the pilot for it, but I just thought it was an interesting thing worth mentioning. Now, one quick thing. Yes, this is Black Templars again, because Black Templars will make literally everything better. They're just clearly the best of the Marines right now, and the fact that they can run in all of the detachments. It's going to be Black Templars, but it's done in Firestorm. So we're going to take High Marshal Helbrecht, a lieutenant with the Champion of Humanity. Now, this upgrade will allow that lieutenant and his unit to ignore all modifiers. And that is a very, very powerful ability to have. We've got 3 units of 5-man Crusaders, a big Eradicator squad of 3 men, Infiltrators, Primary Sword Brethren, 2x3 Outriders, a Black Templar Gladiator Reaper, 3 Black Templar Gladiator Valiants. Now, this might be a surprise to you guys, but it's got the 3 multi-melta, or it's got the what is it? It's got all the multi-meltas that are coming out of it, and when you get to add in the advance and shoot from Firestorm, that gets very, very scary. Then we are going to run the Land Raider Redeemer, which once again gets the advance and shoot with all of its Flamestorm cannons. It becomes very, very scary. Predator Destructor and a Rhino. This is an interesting little bit of a little list here. I think there's some interesting things I might want to try a little bit differently if I were to do the Firestorm, but this definitely did quite well. It did really well at a Super Major. I recommend you guys give it a whirl and then do your own little tweaks to try to figure it out. There is some disgusting Overwatch here. There is really, really nasty threat ranges, just because a Land Raider Redeemer, you might think to, all right, well, I'm just going to measure 24 inches out, so you can't shoot me with your Flamestorm cannons turn 1. But since it can advance and shoot, it gets very, very spicy. Now, I'm going to talk about the list that I'm extremely excited by, because some really awesome cat has created it. Now, I'm talking about the Blood Angels, Sons of Sanguinius detachment. I've spoken about this a little bit, but today I'm going to go a lot more in depth for you guys. This is one of the coolest freaking Space Marine lists that we have seen in a long, long time, and holy crap, does it slap. I've been running it a bunch. I'm going to be bringing it to a bunch of GTs. I'm running it in a couple of different TTS leagues right now, and holy crap, the win rate of this thing is disgusting right now. So let me explain the way this list works. In Sons of Sanguinius, we are going to be getting +2 strength and +1 attack when we charge. So what do we want to do? We want to be charging. Well, how do you charge? How do you make sure that you charge? You give your guys great movement. So I'm going to give the entire army jump packs, more or less. So the entire army is going to be moving 12 inches, which is really, really nice. So the core of the army, here we go. We have the captain with jump pack. He's going to be rocking a Thunder Hammer and a Storm Shield. That's not really that important. But we're also going to have Lamartes. Lamartes is a character that will be leading my Death Company with jump packs. And what he's going to do is he's going to give those Death Company -1 damage and lethal hits. So let me kind of explain how Lamartes works with the jump pack, with the 10 Death Company with jump pack. So Death Company with jump pack, these guys get to move 12 inches. They will have 4 attacks each on the charge, and they always reroll hit rolls, which is absolutely disgusting. They don't need Oath of the Moment to do it. They just always reroll hit rolls. Well, they reroll hit rolls with their Inferno pistols also, which are 6-inch range, 3-inch for their Melter range, D3 Melter 2 damage. So they are very, very threatening to vehicles, transports, just with those Melta pistols, or Custodes. Oh gosh, they wreck Custodes with those Melta pistols. It's very, very scary. And that unit is then going to be -1 damage, and they're also going to be lethal hits. So then you start stacking, okay, when that unit charges, it's going to be 40 attacks, re-rolling hit rolls, hitting on 3s, strength 10. Oh, also it's lethal because Lamartes is leading them. Strength 10, AP 2, damage 2 on the charge. It is nasty. And then you stack the fact that you're -1 damage. When they swing back, you can be Armor of Contempt. So you also have a 6 at Field of Pain. It is a gross unit. And it works really, really well. So that is the Lamartes and the Death Company with jump packs. But and then we're going to have another 5-man Death Company with jump pack. And that's just going to be an empty squad. They'll have AP 0 unless they stay within 12 inches of Lamartes, but that's kind of irrelevant because that's my squad that I just send out to go kill something and then die. So I don't really care if they have OC, and I'm never going to fall back with them, so I don't care that they can't fall back. All right, now let's talk about how the overall list works. I have 2 squads of these Assault Intercessors with jump packs. Each one of these squads will be led by a Sanguinary Priest with a jump pack. The Sanguinary Priest will give them a 5-up Feel No Pain, and he adds 1 to their AP. So when that squad charges a unit, and by the way, don't forget, I'm also going to run the Captain with jump pack leading one of these 2 units. So when this squad charges, you're going to have 12 models, assuming it's the Captain's unit. So on the charge, they're going to cause an average of 6 mortal wounds because Assault Intercessors with jump packs. For every single model that ends in engagement range, I get to roll a dice on a 4-up. It causes 1 mortal wound. So I get to roll 12 dice. I'm going to, on average, roll 6 mortal wounds on that before the fight phase even begins. Then I'm going to have 45 strength 7, AP 2, damage 1. For 1 CP, I can give them lethal and lance chainsword attacks. Let me repeat that. For 1 CP, and since I have a captain, I can do this twice because I can do it on 1 unit, and then I can do it on the captain's unit as well. You're going to have 45 chainsword attacks that are going to be strength 7, AP 2, damage 1 with lethal and lance, meaning they're winning every infantry in the game on 2s. They're also having lethal, and if I'm charging the Oath of the Moment target, they're re-rolling those hit rolls. It is so disgusting. The amount of damage it does is absolutely absurd. It runs through a Satan without even blinking. And then on top of that, you're going to be having a sergeant with 4 attacks from his strength 11 power fist, that's AP 3. And then the captain himself is coming in with another 6 attacks with his strength 11 Thunderhammer. That's also AP 3. It is an absurdly powerful unit. Now, on the other Assault Intercession squad, it's the same thing, you just don't have a captain leading them. And so, since there's no captain leading them, they're only going to be at strength 6. Then we have a unit of 5 infiltrators. And we have a unit of 5 infiltrators, and these 5 infiltrators just make it so you don't even have to bother screening, because you just put them down, boom, you're never deep striking, I don't have to worry about it. Those infiltrators, while I don't want to spend the 100 points on them, they are so critical to the game plan, it means you just don't have to worry about controlling your backfield, and that is so darn important. Alright, then we have 2 units of 5 scouts. Scouts are awesome, and you haven't lived unless you fought Blood Angel scouts that charge and get strength 6 on the charge. It's hilarious. A unit of 10 Van Vets, and the 10 Van Vets are very important because these guys have Storm Shields, giving them the sweet 4-up invuln, which means that they can actually take a ton of damage because they have a 4-up invuln with a 5-up Feel No Pain, and you can always stack Armor of Contempt on them. They don't die. I mean, things will kill them eventually, but they are so much tankier than your opponent is thinking they will be. But then we're also going to have them led by one of our Sanguinary Priests. So they're also going to be at AP 2 with their Van Vet weapons. And that 5-up Feel No Pain like we spoke. Well, we're going to give the Icon of the Angel, which is an enhancement for the Sons of Sanguinius, to that Van Vet squad. The Icon of the Angel is one of the most absurdly powerful enhancements in the entire game. I can't believe that people haven't seen it. What it does is it means if you fall back from me, you take a Desperate Escape test. Done. I have taken this Van Vet squad and I have charged it into a Tau army in turn 1 or turn 2, and I have tagged 3 Riptides and an entire unit of Crisis Suits. And said, cool, bro, have at it. So what my opponent gets to decide is, do they fall back? Because if they do, mathematically, one of the Riptides is going to die just on the fallback, and they're going to lose 2 or 3 Crisis Suits on the fallback. And if they don't fall back, they'll shoot into my Van Vets. Sure, they'll kill them, but then my entire army gets to position to kill them on the next turn. So it's such a nasty combination. So I run that with the Van Vets. Van Vets also innately have lethal hits on the charge. So essentially what happens is when I charge I'm going to have 4 units. All of them will have lethal. 2 of them will also have lance on the charge. It is absolutely gross. Then we have a Gladiator Reaper, which that Reaper by himself essentially means that no Eldar can't just throw their MSU into my backlines and try to score deploy behind enemy lines, because I'll just overwatch them to death. And then the Vindicator, opens up my other melee matchups. So the Vindicator is why I can play against Orcs and I can play against Death Guard, because the Vindicator will pop a transport very easily. It's also got strong enough shooting that your opponent cannot just deploy tanks on the line. They have to be cautious because the Vindicator will absolutely wreck a tank. I've had it killed monoliths in a turn. I've had it do a lot of stuff. I've also had it whiff, of course, but its mere presence is very, very powerful. Not to mention, it's way tougher than it appears. With a 2-up armor save, you stack it with cover and armor of contempt. Suddenly things are not killing that Vindicator when they want to be killing the Vindicator. So this list is disgusting. It's crushing people's souls right now, and I'm very, very proud of it. Definitely give it a try yourself. If you're having trouble with it, message me on the Discord or book a coaching call on Ko-Fi, which you can find in the description down below, where you can book all your coaching call needs, and I'll help you design it and work it on your own. So let's do some closing thoughts real fast. Here are my closing thoughts on Space Marines right now. We have a ton of viable builds. It is an absolute blast and a joy to be playing with Space Marines and against Space Marines right now. Now, I definitely still really, really want to see Divergent chapters separated from Vanilla Marines, because they need to be. It is so hard to buff Vanilla Marines without also buffing, say, Black Templars, which are probably already slightly too strong. It's just really challenging to do. I couldn't imagine trying to buff a Vanilla Marines and then just making my Blood Angels even better than they already are. That would just be nonsense. So I really do think GW needs to move into the position where your Divergent Marines get their own books. Just like your Chaos Space Marines, you have Thousand Suns is a different book. Death Guard is a different book. We need to do the same with our Loyalist Marines as well. So yeah, that's my opinions. These are 4 really awesome and amazing lists, all piloted by great guys. We've got Kit Smith Hanna, we've got Alex Harrison, and which was probably influenced by Innes Wilson. I'm not trying, if I'm wrong about that, Alex, I'd mean no disrespect at all. I just know that Innes definitely ran something similar to this previously. But I think you've done a great innovation on it. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the person who ran this Firestorm list at the Northampton, and then this would be a list of my own design. So guys, if you like this video, please hit the like and subscription. It really helps the channel grow quite a bit. Go ahead and visit Weyland-Yutani for all of your terrain needs, because they are a great sponsor of the channel, and I just really appreciate their support. And if you want to support me giving you more awesome content like this, join the members only Discord. That is the best way to support me. You can also book coaching calls, and you can book coaching matches, which are very, very important for improving your skill as a player, where we will actually play and I will be teaching you as we play along, and we'll be correcting all the mistakes so that you can play as the best as you possibly can. So without any further ado, guys, this is going to be the end of the episode. Thanks so much for all of your attention, and until next time, bye-bye.